Good day, everybody. I'm The Worm. I'm back for some more 999. Last time, we went into door 3 against what seemed to be, I don't know, sense, I guess. Junpei revealed an aspect of his character that I don't think I've seen before. A kind of I think I described it as stone cold, where essentially he wants to go with June, and he's gonna get that. Consequences be damned, essentially. And so he, on the spot, came up with a scheme to essentially force Santa and Lotus to go along with it, which was to basically to start use more than 3 people to go through door 3, and so at the end of it, it had to be either Santa or Lotus and Clover, and that was quite a gamble. That could have gone wrong in a lot of ways if someone didn't end up going through the door, or if they refused, or like, it didn't have to go the way it did, but Junpei was able to cause such a panic that they ended up going through with it, and that was quite something. And it really kind of changed the way I got to look at Junpei, because it seems crazy. I remember on my first playthrough, I talked about this not too long ago, like an episode or two ago, so I'm kind of rehashing what I said, but on the first playthrough, I couldn't imagine how we would ever be allowed to go into door 3, and so I finally got my answer. It's not that we were allowed, it's that Junpei forces the situation. So, yeah, very strange, and I still don't know exactly how to think of it. I mean, is this Junpei the same Junpei from the first playthrough, or is this, by making that decision, is his thought process different? Like, difficult to say. I'm not entirely sure right now. But in any case, we went through that whole thing, got into door 3, and found the unfortunate remains of Snake. It was the same as before, and unfortunately, we haven't really learned anything new. I had wanted to investigate more in the first playthrough, but there was nothing much else, and so his fate is still a bit of a mystery. I'm still thinking the working theory for me at the moment is that Ace, Santa, or Seven took Snake. Well, they didn't have to take Snake, but whoever it was, I'm guessing it's one of those 3. Or it could have been Snake if he remembered the room. So maybe one of those 4, I should say. Went back to the lockbox in the first class cabin and was able to open it. And that's what was in there, the electrical parts. And then, for whatever reason, because Snake's a smart guy, he was able to find something else. He was find something out, revealed something that would have been bad for whoever he was with. I'm thinking I think the numbers I found that worked were 7, Santa, and Snake. Maybe he found out who 0 was somehow, or he was able to put it together, something like that, and they forced him into the room to his death. That's sort of the working theory. Still don't know for sure. Just out of curiosity. No, that wouldn't work. Yeah. So that's still up in the air. And I think at the end of last episode, am I recording? I've been talking a lot. Let's make sure. Yes, I am. At the end of the episode, I came to the thought that, man, this playthrough, this route we're going down, Junpei's going to be in such a difficult position because now he's antagonized pretty much everyone else. Certainly Santa and Lotus. They're going to be... Santa's just pissed at him, you know, and Lotus, I would think, is going to be more careful around Junpei now. Clover, I think she's just going to go into shell shock again from, you know, seeing her brother. But yeah, I don't know where this is going to go. Presumably we're going to discover the 3 doors again. But are we just going to get to choose again? Because like what I'm saying is the dynamic between our characters is different now than it was before. So I'll be interested to see if it's going to be exactly the same or not. In any case, let's get back into it. Outside the shower room was a hallway that extended off to the left and right.
There's a large iron door at the end.
Let's take a look.
They'd moved a few steps toward the door when Junpei heard the sound of metal on metal.
Huh?
They turned around. Seven was doing something to the door of the shower. He did this last time, too.
What are you doing, Seven?
Well, I figure maybe we might want to come back here sometime. So, I stuck the broom in there to keep the door from shutting. Alright, let's go.
And this, too, it's similar with the first class cabin. Like, he has a plan, or like he knows something, you know? It's just... With that, he stood up and began walking down the hallway. He brushed past Junpei and kept going. After a moment, the rest of them followed him. Before long, they found themselves at the large iron door. They'd only been there for a moment when June spoke up.
Jumpy, look!
He turned. There on the right side of the hallway was a piece of paper attached to the wall. Another map.
What's up?
What's that on the wall there?
Oh, I think it's...
Junpei ran over and peeled it off. Another map.
a map of the ship's interior?
It says sea deck.
So it's the map for this floor then. We'll have time to study it later. Let's keep going for now.
Junpei folded the map and stuffed it into his pocket. You should probably just study it now rather than waiting, but okay. Back at the door, the four of them lined up in front of it. Santa stepped forward. He grabbed hold of the door and then turned to look back at the rest of them.
Ready? I'm gonna open it.
Because if you just look at the map, you'd probably realize that this is just the hospital room again. They nodded. Santa nodded back and threw open the door. Hey guys, hope you're all well. All four of them let through.
What the?
You're shitting me.
It took only a moment for them to realize where they were.
We're back.
They'd been there only a short time. Oh, you know what's interesting? I just realized. A lot of the stuff, like the key cards and the keys, weren't they in 7 and 8? So we're kind of restricted on where we can go at the moment, aren't we? It was the large hospital room filled with countless beds. Lotus and Clover looked up as they entered. Ace was there as well, although he looked as though he had only just woken up.
Clover! Lotus! And Ace! I'm glad you're all okay. Lotus? What are you...
The moment they spotted Junpei, Lotus and Clover headed straight for him. As she neared him, Lotus drew back her hand and slapped him open-palmed across the face. Really not a surprise, and somewhat appropriate, I would think, actually.
How could you do this to us?
Her face was furious. She grabbed Junpei by the collar and shook him violently. Clover didn't touch him, but the hate in her eyes was no less potent. It was Seven who stopped them.
Knock it off! We got bigger shit to worry about right now.
His deep voice echoed across the massive room. Lotus glared at Seven, but let Junpei go after one last vicious shake.
What?
Go have a look. I stuck the screwdriver in the door. That door over there, the one without a number. As long as the screwdriver's there, it can't shut, so you can get in there.
Must be a very narrow opening, I guess.
There's a shower room past there. I stuck a broom at the door there, too. Anyway, go take a look.
Then you're saying we can go in there without passing through the numbered door?
Yeah, it's about the size of it.
Wait, what the hell is in there?
You'll know when you see it.
I feel like just letting... Well, Lotus can go see it, but letting Clover go in there without any warning will be tough.
Fine, let's go.
Okay, well... This is not going to be pretty. By then, Ace had made his way to them, moving with a stiff, shuffling step of someone who had only just awoken from a lengthy slumber.
My goodness. I know I said I was sure you'd come back for me. I didn't think it would happen so soon, though.
Ace shook his head weakly.
Should I go as well?
Yeah.
Seven nodded.
Very well.
Ace followed Lotus and Clover with his stiff, tired gait. And scream. And scream. No, not yet. The squeal of tortured metal made Junpei's teeth curl. It sounded like the noise a ghost would make. No matter how many times he heard it, he never got used to it. Every time it put him on edge. It didn't help that there was a girl nearby who looked far more than a ghost in them. Okay, I think this is similar to what was in the past. Yeah, it was Clover. Okay, she sat at the edge of her bed, her head drooping listlessly onto her chest, her eyes were blank, and stared across the room at nothing. Her breathing was slow and mechanical. Aside from the rise and fall of her chest, she didn't move. Junpei felt as if even a nudge might cause her to shatter into 1,000 pieces.
Snake was probably murdered.
Okay, this is...
Chances are he was killed the same way the Ninth Man was.
I think this is the same dialogue. Let's use the skip function. If there's new dialogue, it should stop us, right? Because this is just the whole discussion about Zero and everything. Yeah. Let's choose the other option. See what else we can say.
But I don't... Where could Zero be hiding?
Suddenly everyone went very quiet. Silence was cold and clammy, and Junpei could feel it crawling across his back and around his throat. Again, here's the ghosting, moaning noise. Moments later, a person who looked more like ghost than human appeared. It was Clover. She looked at the floor as she spoke, and her voice was a cold monotone.
I think Zero is one of us.
Ooh. Bum bum bum. Every human body in the room froze. The only sound was the muffled rustling of breath. Eyes darted from face to face. One of those faces was the face of their jailer. But who? Was he one of them? I guess I said that last time? What if I say that's crazy?
That's crazy. Isn't this ship going to sink in a few... If Zero was here with us, he'd be putting himself in danger. Why the hell would he do something like that? There's no motive.
Well, you can't say that, Junpei.
You don't believe me.
Clover looked at Junpei, her face fell. Her eyes were so pitiful. The moment Junpei met them, he felt his heart tighten. He didn't think what he said was wrong, but perhaps the way he said it had been. He'd been too insensitive. Clover had just lost her brother. His death would have been bad enough, but she'd also seen the blasted wreck of his body. Junpei barely knew him, and the sight had been enough to make him sick. What Clover had felt, he couldn't even begin to imagine. In the mental state she must have been, it was understandable that she would look around at those around her with suspicion. She felt everyone was against her. The least Junpei could have done was try to understand what she was feeling. He felt ashamed at what he'd said. Perhaps he thought I should apologize, but before that apology could begin...
Clover,
Clover, I understand what you're feeling. You don't feel that you can trust any of us.
Ace had beaten Junpei to the punch. As he spoke to Clover, his face was calm and friendly.
But you have to understand. The more we distrust one another, the further we fall into our true foe's trap.
And yeah, so basically the same idea, just presented in another way.
Zero was the one who did those horrible things to your brother. Do you want to let yourself be manipulated by someone who would do such a horrible thing?
Clover didn't answer. She didn't even look at Ace. The whole time, her eyes were on Junpei. He could feel Clover's eyes boring into him. They were the color of a deep winter lake. Junpei saw no suspicion in them, only sadness. Then, in that horrible silence... What are we on, 3 hours or 4? They heard a bell begin to ring. It was the clock at the central staircase.
It's 3 in the morning.
That means we have 3 hours left.
3 hours, that's right.
Then we need to move now. 7. Clover, I know how you feel, but you do understand that right now it's important we trust one another.
So
don't you?
Oh, so this is new dialogue. Okay. 7 and Clover remained silent. Their eyes were looking at something somewhere else far
We must
far
go.
away.
We have very little time left.
Ace's words put their feet to moving. They all knew where they were
Our
going.
next destination is Mercury. Here we go.
Yeah, so behind 7 and 8, we got specific either key cards or keys. I can't remember which off the top of my head. But now we only have the Mercury key card, so this should be interesting. They stood in front of the elevators next to the stairs that led to the casino and the kitchen. Between the 2 elevators, there was a card reader with the Mercury symbol engraved on it. Junpei stood in front of it with the Mercury key card.
Oh, that's the...
Yeah, I found it in the shower room.
Oh, I see. It's got the Mercury symbol.
Took a deep breath, slid the card through the reader. It made a small beep, and the lights on the reader blinked to life.
Now we can go.
7 people, including Junpei, climbed on the elevator. It's interesting that,
Looks like there's only 2 floor buttons working.
does it go down?
C and bottom.
Yeah, remember last time we did the whole thing where we tested the elevator by having it go down and come back up to see if there would be water? I wonder if they'll do that again. The rest were destroyed or did nothing with
Time to head down then.
the bottom button? No, we're just going. Okay. The door closed, so they made it down. That's interesting. It's interesting that they didn't attempt to test it. Yeah, I wonder why. Sometime later, all 7 of them stepped off the elevator and onto the bottom deck. They stepped off and saw that the hallway to the right ended somewhere between 20 and 25 feet from them. The hallway in front of them was a dead end, but not a regular dead end. 2.
This is a numbered door.
Yeah, it's door 2.
They immediately began to discuss who would go through it.
So who should go through the door this time?
We don't need to be discussing who we're leaving behind this time, right?
Right. It's set up so we'll be able to meet up again once we get through the numbered doors.
Then there's no need for arguments at this point.
We should figure out who's going in first.
Very well. Would anyone like to volunteer?
I'll do it.
First to speak up was 7.
I'll go too.
And I suppose I need to go too, then.
Junpei followed suit, which meant Lotus was, by default, the 3rd member. 5 plus 7 plus 8 equals 20. 2 plus 0 equals 2. Wow, no decisions. We're just going.
All right, we're taking off.
I guess Junpei is no longer, ultra defensive because of the idea that we'll just meet up again. So he's just saying, yeah, we'll meet up again. Although it's a bit weird because that whole situation with door 3, it's like he didn't want to be separated from her ever. Now he's just going off on his own, essentially. So,
Okay, please be careful.
Jesus. You 2 are acting like you're married, you know that?
Yeah, I guess it's just the fact that they believe now that they'll meet up. Like, it's guaranteed. Whereas for the door number 3, they were not sure they'd ever meet up again. But now they're convinced of that, I guess, so, yeah.
Oh,
June blushed. So did Junpei.
Don't be silly. Cut it out.
Perhaps in an attempt to hide his emotions, he quickly turned away and to pull the lever on the red. The door opened. As they'd come to expect, there appeared to be a short hallway on the other side.
All right, let's go.
Lotus was the first through the door.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
7 was next, and Junpei brought up the rear.
Where the hell is it this time?
I don't see it!
There it is! It's right there!
Fortunately, it took them only moments to find the dead. It had been placed just inside the room next to the numbered door. They gathered around and quickly scanned each of their bracelets. Good work.
It stopped.
Yeah, it stopped.
Junpei could feel his heart pounding against the inside of his ribs. Seven and Lotus were breathing hard and fast.
Man, I'll never get used to that.
I'm not sure it's something I'd want to get used to. We should finish this game before imminent death becomes a normal thing.
Yes.
Damn right.
All right.
Junpei looked around again.
This hallway's pretty short, but it's got 5 doors. 3 on the left, and only 1 on the right.
Don't forget the last one at the end of the hall.
But it's got a metal plate over it, so I doubt we're gonna get anywhere that way.
You don't know until you try. After taking a look around the room himself, Seven spoke.
All right, let's get started. I think we'd probably better split up. You okay with that?
Yes, no problem.
Sure thing.
Then I'll take this first one.
I don't like splitting up. Seven nodded to them and stepped into the room closest to him.
I'll try the one next to it.
Yeah, I had a conversation a little bit ago with a commentator, and one thing that came from it was the idea that if we're just being naturally suspicious, we should want, we meaning myself and Junpei, we should want to confirm everything with our own eyes as much as possible. You know, I think a lot of grief could be saved if we didn't just leave it to others to check everything, you know? It's just it's just every single time we split up and go off and do our own thing, we are trusting everyone that they're going to be doing or everything that they said they're going to do, and well, I don't trust them. So again, this is another instance where we're splitting up, and you know, we have no idea what they're going to find or what they're going to say they're going to find, and if that's true. Of course, the argument against that is the time argument. We are on a time limit, so I guess the simple fact is, well, we kind of have to trust people to we have to trust them when they say what they've found, because we do not physically have enough time to do everything by ourselves. And yeah, that's where we're stuck. That's where Zero gets us, because during these moments where we're all split up, off on our own, that's the time when the culprit or culprits can do whatever they want to or need to, you know, further their plans. So, yeah.
Well, I guess I'd better get started too.
He looked intently at the remaining 3 doors. Emergence. Is that what that said? Confinement room, front hallway. How long have I been going? Okay, looks like I have time to do this one. Well. Seen a lot of ceilings in my time. Well, I'm glad to get your ceiling rating there, Junpei. It's almost like... Is there meant to be like a door or something that comes down here? What is this? What am I seeing here? Oh. I don't know. Oh, hey. Screwdriver shaft. Oh, screwdriver shaft. I see. How about that? For that screw. I don't think I've found the screw yet. Any Phillips screws, okay. We'll lift it up. Anything under the bed? No? Okay. Oh, hey, more to the room. I see. Let's go ahead and unscrew the screws. Well, that's just great. Huh. What are we gonna do with this? Oh. These bumps here, I see. Let's check the other rooms. This last one was a whirlpool. This is like a river. Interesting. So we have the river going to the whirlpool. sun and moon. A mirror. Can we take that off? Yes. So what's the other room looking like? Yeah. Got it. Junpei put the wet towel in his pocket. He was about to turn away when there was noise behind him.
What the?
This is happening again. Like in the first-class cabin. He spun around to see Seven kneeling on the floor. His face was rigid and pale. Droplets of sweat covered his forehead.
Hey, what's going on? Are you okay, man? You're sweating like crazy. Are you all right?
He was concerned. He'd never seen Seven like this before. Slowly, the other man lifted himself to his feet on shaky legs.
Yeah, I'm fine. Just got a little dizzy, that's all.
His face was pale and his breathing was heavy. Sweat was pouring off his face and staining his shirt.
That's definitely more than just a little dizzy. Are you sure? You don't look so good.
Seven didn't answer. Half of his face was twisted as if distorted by extreme pain, and his eyes were glazed. Finally, he spoke.
What am I doing here?
Huh?
His words made no sense.
What are you talking about? We opened the number 2 door and walked in here. Don't tell me you forgot.
No, that's not what I mean.
He shook his head several times as if trying to clear something from
It
it.
ain't much, but I think some of my memories came back. I think I've been here before.
Oh. It has been an unanswered question. I've talked about it before. The idea that Zero, I can't remember the exact wording, but had mentioned that some of the people here may have been in a Nonary game before. So maybe it was 7.
Huh?
I said I've been in this room before.
You were here? When? Why?
Aoi. Light. Nona.
Nona? Nonary? No. Aoi, Light, and Nona. Suddenly, Seven was mumbling to himself. They were words Junpei didn't understand. Seven's hoarse voice trailed off, and Junpei couldn't make out what he'd said.
What the hell was that?
Seven's brow furrowed furiously, and he ground his teeth back and forth.
It's right there. I feel like I'm this close to remembering everything, but I just can't.
Seven stopped, frustrated. He pulled his hat off and ran his hand through his hair. And suddenly he looked up, his eyes wide.
That's right, an experiment. There was some kind of experiment going on this ship.
An experiment? What sort of experiment?
They were trying to control people. Or something like that.
What the hell are you talking about?
Junpei didn't know what to make of Seven's story. Instead, he simply stared as Seven continued.
Aoi, Light, and Nona. Those were their names. Well, some of them. The kids that were in the experiment, I mean. I think there were 4 or 5 more, but I don't remember all their names. Yeah, that's right. That's why I'm here.
Seven began to mumble to himself and wander aimlessly about the room. He looked confused. So far as Junpei could tell, the man was simply rambling, and there were odd twitches to his movements.
Experiment. Cradle Pharmaceuticals. Those kidnapped kids. Was I working that case?
Seven continued to mumble to himself about things that meant nothing to Junpei.
Huh?
Junpei didn't have any answers for him, of course. Can't understand what was happening to Seven. All he could do was wait. I'm gonna write that down just in case, though. Okay. After a few minutes, Seven finally stopped.
Wait, under this bed.
He crouched down and looked under the bed. His face registered mild surprise, and he began mumbling to himself again.
The home's gone? No, maybe it was a different room. There's gotta be a ton of rooms on this boat that look just like this one.
He said case. Is he, like, meant to be an undercover detective or something? At last, Junpei could contain himself no longer.
Hey, what exactly do you remember? Maybe you could stop talking like a crazy person and tell me what's going on here.
Seven stepped slowly.
Well, it's not like I really remember everything. I've only got bits and pieces, and they're scattered and don't make much sense.
I don't care. Tell me the bits and pieces then.
Junpei could feel it. Whatever Seven had remembered, it was very important.
Okay.
Seven drew a large muscled hand down across his face. As he wiped the sweat from his brow, he spoke.
From what I can remember, I think I was a cop.
Okay.
A cop?
Yeah. I was looking for that group of kids that got kidnapped 9 years ago.
9 years ago, huh?
You remember that, right? It was all over the news.
Yeah, I was still in school.
Okay, so it's a real event. Junpei remembers it too.
I don't remember all the details, but I do remember some of it.
Was it 9 kids?
I think it was a bunch of kids right around
16.
my age. They all just disappeared. Nobody knew why. It was all over TV and the newspapers every day. So you're saying you were investigating it?
Yeah, that's what it looks like. I guess I found something. There was this medical company called Cradle Pharmaceuticals that had something to do with those kids. After I figured that out, I managed to get some information out of somebody who worked for them. I think it was...
Tonight, a ship is set to take the children to a large passenger liner docked offshore.
No, I don't recognize this voice.
Yeah, that had to been it. That's why I went to the wharf. In the shadows, I searched the harbor until I found the ship he was talking about.
Look at this guy.
There was a bunch of movement near it. Men in black suits, many of them carrying large bags.
An organization, then.
The bags. There was something about the way they moved as they were carried. No doubt about it. There were human beings in those bags. I moved before I realized it. I came out of hiding, my gun already in my hand. Don't move. I felt metal touch the back of my head. Drop the gun. He kept digging the cold metal thing into my skull.
Should have called for backup, man.
There was nothing I could do. Did what he said and laid my gun on the ground. Then suddenly, there was a sharp pain in my neck. A needle. A drug? That was my last thought. My face hit cold concrete. I was out like a light.
He really should have had a partner or call for backup or something. I don't know.
I woke up on a hard floor. Damn it. Shit, my head hurts. Where am I? A small, shabby bed, a dirty sink, a toilet with no privacy. I'd seen it countless times as a cop. I'm in a cell, huh? Facing the toilet was a door set into the wall. I was still pretty woozy, but I made my way over to it. I pushed and pulled on it, but... it won't open. Not like I expected much else. Would be dumb enough to put me in a cell and leave it unlocked. Threw myself against the door a few times, but it wouldn't budge. I knew it. I gave up and made my way back to the bed, and sat down. I sat there for a very, very long time. Who knows how long. Then, I heard a faint voice. The voice was far away. I couldn't understand what it was saying, but I could hear one. It was pretty high, probably a little kid. Huh? No, it was several. I hear 5, or 6, maybe more. Where? Where are they coming from? I pressed my ear to the wall and tried to listen through it. No, that's not it. Left. It's coming from under the bed? I hauled on the metal frame and flipped the thing over. And there it was. The bed had hidden an air vent under it. The hole in the wall was covered by a metal grate. I dropped flat on the floor and peered through the grate. I couldn't see shit, but I knew it in my gut. This was where those voices were coming from. Hold on. Why are there kids here? And then what my inside man told me popped into my head.
Tonight, a ship is set to take the children to a large passenger liner docked offshore.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Am I on that ship? It didn't matter. All I knew was I had to get to those kids. I checked out the metal grate. Could I fit?
Probably not.
I stuck my fingers in and grabbed it. And then... Yeah! How do you like that, you son of a bitch? I finally got the damn thing off. Sweat was dripping down my face, so I wiped it off and crawled inside.
Really? Junpei waited for Seven to resume his story. The longer he waited, however, the clearer it became that Seven had no intention of doing so. He had gone silent and simply stared off into the air, his eyes blank.
Hey, what happened after that?
He'd waited long enough. But Seven shook his head.
I don't remember what happens after that. I think I found some kind of door out of the duct. And I think I found some kids, too. Not good. Why can't I remember what happened next?
You remember the kids' names, at least 3 of them, right?
Ah, man, what happened to the kids, Seven? Did you save them?
I don't know. I don't know if it was me. I've got this feeling. I think one of the kids died. A girl, I think.
Huh?
Deep in his heart, Junpei felt something very cold. Seven's head dropped, and Junpei saw on it the look of a sadness the likes of which he had never seen on the man before. The large man's eyes blinked rapidly as if he were fighting back tears, and he swallowed hard. His sigh was like the melancholy setting of an old abandoned building. He shook his head and spoke.
Anyway, just please don't ask me anymore, okay? I really don't remember anything else.
After that, Junpei could hardly try to force any answers out of the other man.
It's fine. Don't push yourself. Going by what he said?
Junpei left Seven to pull himself together, and instead began thinking everything over.
The children who had been kidnapped 9 years before, apparently a company called Cradle Pharmaceuticals had been behind it all. They'd taken the children to the same ship we're on now. They'd been brought here for an experiment. Seven said it had something to do with controlling human beings. The 16 children who had been kidnapped were the subjects. Seven had said 3 of their names were Aoi, Light, and Nona. That's all I got. Oh, and Seven is, or was at some point, a cop. I can't really use any of this information anyway. I didn't learn anything about the Nonary game or Zero.
It's Nona. Nona is the one behind it all. Because it's actually not 9 game, it's Nona's game. It was a trick the whole time.
Why were we brought to the same ship where they'd done those experiments 9 years ago? And just what the heck is this about controlling human beings? That's nuts. Did they really conduct an experiment like that?
Before long, Junpei realized he had spent quite some time deep in
I
thought.
don't have time to just stand here thinking. I need to get moving.
Junpei shook his head quickly to clear it, and returned to his investigation, thoughts swirling in his mind. Okay. How long have I been going? We can go a bit longer. And I'm just gonna need to let that digest for a while. So sun is 4, moon is 7. Oh, look at this. Equals E. Emergence. So there are more tiles, huh? Well, what if we... Yeah. Both the same, huh? I mean, what else do we do? Can I use this towel in the water? No. Well, yeah. I've already done that. Yeah. Oh. It was 4, right? Drawer. Knew it. Three of them. 3 E's, huh? Okay. I think I know which one. Oh, 1 second. Okay. Well, there was that, but it just said 14 equals E, so... Hey, found it just in time. Okay. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Okay. We are obviously stopping here. Okay, this was a lot, this episode. Yes. Okay, I have a lot to think about. Learned a lot more about 7 this time. Yeah, just sorry. It's been about an hour, and I just have to go over everything again that happened. But yeah, a lot happened. So we will talk about all of it next time. All right. I hope you're all doing well. I've been The Worm. This has been 999, and I hope to see you next time.